This is the second best of 5 of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're on Echo, spawning to the bottom right-hand side in purple, playing Protoss for Psystorm. And the US, it's Poizon. And to the top left-hand side in orange, playing Protoss as well for LDLC and France, it's Miyako. So, for all of you watchers out there who might be new to the FSL format, Miyako actually is our first FSL champion. She usually plays Terran. Terran is her main race, but she decided to play Protoss in Season 2, giving herself a little challenge there. Actually, she wanted to play random, but then there was some misunderstanding, probably some sentences lost in translation, where she thought that I would forbid it, which I actually didn't. I would have actually really liked her playing random, but she thought that when I told her that she had to decide for a race, that she actually thought she would have needed to take either Protoss or Zerg or Terran, and so she decided to play Protoss. So Protoss not really her best race, while Poizon is playing Protoss as her main. You might actually have seen that on her stream. She streams pretty regularly, and you can see her play very often. If you live in the United States, you might even have seen her attending Philadelphia. I think Poizon was at Philadelphia, right? In Philly. So might have even seen her live in action there. So in the meantime, we have a PvP now. This time around, Poizon just starts with an opening we see quite often out of her, which is just the double gateway into double adept, and then into expand, while it seems as if Miyako just wants to go for an early expand here, planting down the pylon already, waiting for the 400 minerals to gather up, and then just planting down a nexus here, while Poizon, sneaky, also going for a proxy Stargate here, which is probably going to produce an oracle to fly into the main base mineral line and kill off some workers. Miyako already has a mothership core out, plus a pylon close by, and another one over here. So yeah, she will actually be able to deal with some threats headed her way. So in the meantime, we have a small little engagement right here in the middle, where Miyako actually prevailed, it seems, against the early harassment. So unfortunately, we didn't really get to see that, because I was just talking about the opportunities of a possible oracle that is not even an oracle but a void ray. So it seems as if Poizon just actually wants to go for a one base all-in build here, trying to crack through Miyako's defenses before she can actually get something up. Miyako, unfortunately for Poizon, sniffs out everything here, so now even realizes what's going on, might even be able to take down that... no, probably not. I mean, if she now started to focus firing down the pylon, she might just barely be able to get it down before the Void Ray gets out. That would be disastrous for Poizon. I mean, with one Void Ray out and the overcharge started right away. Okay, but yeah, Miyako just doesn't care about the Void Ray, wants to take down the pylon. That's the most important part, forcing Poizon to bring another probe over here to replace the pylon, while in the meantime she just tries to attack at Miyako's base, but Miyako of course already has some units out. She also has a mothership core which she could use to help her defend with that pylon. She chooses not to, it seems. So she just wants to get out there, and not that many units out anyway, so I think the most important part for her would be to take out that Void Ray. In the meantime, Poizon managed to replace that pylon over here, trying to gather some more units, but of course now, right now, Miyako has the defender's advantage, meaning that her own units just arrive at the front way earlier than those of her opponent. I mean, Protoss can actually negate this with the help of the Warp Gate effect, but since there was no warp gate out, and since she didn't have a forward pylon close to that warp gate, it just got everything just got delayed. Her whole all-in push just became way more all-in than it has been before. So Miyako, already replacing a few more pylons, wants to have enough pylons out in order to throw down several photon overcharges if need be. So yeah, Poizon just moving forwards with the Adept Shades, just wanting to scout what's going on, maybe getting a hit off onto that pylon, but Miyako reacts right away and takes it out. So Poizon realizes that she will probably not be able to deal that much damage. In the meantime, we have the Adept shading into the mineral line, taking out at least 4 workers here. So at least a little bit of success, and now trying to get in through the main base after luring a few units back into the main base. But I don't really think that it's going to be enough. Well, the 2 pylons have fallen, at least. The first Void Ray dies to the Stalker fire. The second one is going to die as well. Poizon now having more Stalkers here than Miyako does. The Mothership Core also falls, but Miyako, of course, in the meantime already has 3 gateways out. Just needs to reinforce her own Stalker count and will now just go forward and clear up the rest of Poizon's remaining units. But yeah, since Poizon realized that she will probably not be able to get through with sheer brute force, she just decided to get a Nexus of her own up. I mean, she's quite behind right now. It will be difficult for her to get back into the game. She really needs to deal some more damage, I feel, before she can actually just comfortably go into a mid-game. If she just plays catch-up right now, Miyako will just overwhelm her eventually. So she needs to deal some more damage, trying to find it with the Adepts. Unfortunately, one Adept dies before it can even shade into the main base. The other one can also not get its shade done before it gets killed. So no more harassment for Poizon. So the only actual real damage she dealt were the 4 to 5 workers, how many were it? 5 workers that she killed over here, which just gives her a little bit of breathing room. But now she just has to get her own economy up as quickly as possible. In the meantime, Miyako taking down the remaining buildings on her half of the map, throwing even throwing back Poizon in the tech tree here, because if she ever wanted to go back into the Stargate, she would have to build a new one, which she doesn't really want to do right now anyways. Trying to get a robotics facility up as quickly as possible. Miyako, being the aggressive player she is, just wants to see if she can get something done with her army. Does not really want to keep it at home doing nothing. Rather wants to check if there is an opportunity for her to get something done. Might actually be problematic here. If Poizon gets her force fields right, she might just cut off a few units and take them down before Miyako can actually do anything against it. Decides to go for the Time Warp here, which unfortunately doesn't really get any units, but Miyako doesn't really want to engage underneath the Time Warp, because if she really needed to retreat, she couldn't do that, so she rather decides not to risk that engagement. In the meantime, we have a Dark Shrine going down for Miyako. And also Warp Prism, so it seems as if she just wants to go for some sort of multi-pronged harassment, I feel. Attacking with the Stalkers at the front, just threatening her opponent, while maybe warping in or just dropping some DTs inside the main base. That would be just a very crucial move there, if Poizon just realizes too late what's going on. So in the meantime, we have a Phoenix just scouting the inside of Miyako's main base, getting the Dark Shrine. Don't know if Poizon actually clicked on it, but she's had the opportunity to see it at least. In the meantime, Miyako just retreating a little bit here. Okay, and Poizon trying to take a third base now, after having... Has she realized that her opponent... Yeah, after realizing with the Scouting Phoenix that Miyako's also going into Nexus, so she knows that she doesn't need to fear too much of a heavy aggression coming her way. Well, maybe some light harassment here and there, and now we have to really take care of that Warp Prism here, if Miyako is paying attention, or if she's going to lose it to Poizon Stalker Force that's standing over here. Yeah, Miyako just realizes it straight away and turns around. Nice little reaction time here by Miyako. So in the meantime, just planting down a lot of pylons all across the map. I love this move a lot. I think too many Protosses just don't do this, although it's very, very helpful in the later stages of the game if you just have some pylons around, be it for scouting and tracking the army movement, be it just to warp in, even if it's slow warp-ins at some point of the map and just sending units across. It's always a good move to have probes out on the map planting down pylons in critical locations for a lot of stuff. So that's just a move I really appreciate out of Miyako here. Miyako in the meantime also trying to get another robotics facility out and a robotics bay. So we might actually see some disruptors or some colossi. We'll see what's actually going to happen. I mean, disruptors are more typical in the PvP metagame, the pro metagame right now, which doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to see it as well. In that case, I think Miyako would have already invested into Blink, and she has. So yeah, we might actually see some disruptors. Let's see. Well, this time around it's first going to be Immortals. Well, maybe she doesn't want to handle, or maybe she doesn't want to handle the disruptors, just wants to go for the big heavy hitters that just kind of micro themselves, but there they are. There the disruptors are, and disruptors coming in for Poizon as well. Yeah, disruptors being the comeback unit, sorta, for Protoss, at least in PvP. They don't really work that well in other matchups. Can, but it's not that decisive, I feel, in most other matchups. But yeah, Poizon even sniffing out the Warp Prism by accident here. Having a Void Ray here will help her so that the Prism will not be able to escape. Yeah, but in PvP, actually the Disruptors can help out tremendously to win an almost lost game by just getting the money Disruptor shot, or maybe two, that just kills a big chunk of clumped up Protoss army. And yeah, just brings you from a big disadvantage to a big advantage in like a second time, or maybe even only a part of a second. So, Warp Prism harassment by Poizon over here at the left side. She has some adepts in position already, but Miyako also has some army units out here. Don't know if she's actually seen it. No, it's probably just random army movement by her. She doesn't really actually know about this. So yeah, let's see what Poizon can actually do if she lets these shades finish. I think she shouldn't, but she does. Was probably not paying attention anymore. Was just sending them in, hoping they would deal some damage, and Miyako wouldn't be prepared, but she was. Had all of her units close to the third base, which is just a typical location to have those. Once you've taken your fourth base, you need to have your army at some point where you can easily defend your 3 mining bases. I mean, the natural is almost dry, but these 2 bases are your most important ones income-wise. So yeah, you want to have your army positioned at some place where you can just easily get towards your natural base and towards your 4th base as well, and that's just the typical location for it. You also don't want to stand on the low ground, because then random disruptor shots or surprise disruptor shots can suddenly just hit you while you're not watching. So what you actually want to do is stand on top of a ramp, so you can always just shoot the disruptors down once you realize that an army tries to engage you upwards a ramp. And that's never a wise decision in a PvP. Once you know that your opponent has disruptors out, or even has the chance to have disruptors out, it's always very, very risky to engage into a Protoss army. And that's when Blink comes into play, because that's actually the only thing that you can really do against the disruptor shots, just moving in, and once you see the disruptor shot is headed your way, you just blink away, and the disruptor shot actually hits nothing. So Poizon, trying to harass her opponent once more using adepts, has already loaded up those 4, will probably just try to drop them into the natural base, and Miyako's army is actually a little bit out of position here, probably expecting a push over the left-hand flank, but yeah, it's not there, and there the Warp Prism drops down the first units. We have some reinforcements coming down. We'll probably be able to just clear everything out with the help of the Mothership Core and the Photon Overcharge, plus the Immortals, so not that big of a problem here for Miyako. Still, getting 5 workers is still a nice thing over here, so more Zealots being warped in, I feel, by Poizon here into the main base, but we have enough Photon Overcharges in order to deal with that, and a Dark Templar as well. So, nice little try by Poizon to harass a little bit more, unfortunately not getting that much damage done. I mean, 16 workers have been killed, but over the course of 14 minutes. And if we just have a look, Miyako is, well, not ahead in workers anymore, but now they are even. With Miyako just getting a 5th base, while Poizon has just secured her 4th. So both players are trying to, yeah, it's like I said, it's very risky for any opponent to engage right now. So that's why PvP sometimes can seem a little bit stale if both players are just too afraid. And there we have them, the big shots that actually got a big chunk of Poizon Stalkers over here. Yeah, this army composition is tremendously difficult to handle. Don't underestimate that. I know that in the community Protoss has been known for the A-move race since Vol, but this army composition is very difficult to deal with if the opponent knows how to use them. And on the other hand, it's also quite difficult to use because you have just a lot of spellcasters in your... well, actually you have the disruptors, but you not only need to move the disruptor shots once they are fired, you also have to make sure that no stalkers get killed by disruptor shots. So you also have to move them and blink them away. You also have to make sure that your disruptors don't get shot by other units or disruptor shots, because you don't want to lose them as well. And yeah, the dancing around, the moving forwards, moving backwards, getting shots into the target zone, and also maybe avoiding those shots is really difficult to do. So yes, it's mostly about execution, but it's way harder to do than it looks. So that's actually a reason why, yeah, it's kind of the meta, because those disruptors are just so tremendously strong in the matchup. But especially for players below Masters, it's very difficult to use this composition quite effectively. And let's see how it's actually going to work out. I mean, right now I'd give the advantage to Miyako. She has a lot of disruptors out, actually just enough in order to keep a continuous roll of disruptor shots if she wants. She also has a big chunk of army over here, but like I said before, big chunks of army just don't mean that much. In the meantime, we have small DT harassment, and I just like this out of Miyako. I mean, this is really the point in time where DT harassment can be amazingly annoying. Since, woo, and there again, just not looking for a moment, being occupied somewhere else, suddenly a few disruptor shots get in, whoa, getting the money hit on all the disruptors, and there it is. Oh my god, that explosion was just awful to watch, and there the game is over in an instant. GG, and Miyako takes the first map. Habitation Station is our second map. We have Poizon to the top right and Miyako to the top left. So Poizon chose the second map. Let's see if she has planned something. I mean, you always get the idea if a player deliberately chooses a map with a gold base that they are going to cheese you in some way, playing some sort of echo cheese. But Poizon not doing anything of that sort, is just conservatively planting her pylon right behind that Vespene geyser, while Miyako is already getting her gateway. But it's still going to be quite interesting. Okay, we have a gateway and an assimilator on Poizon's side. A little bit later assimilator, but double assimilator for Miyako here. So maybe Miyako just wants to get into some more tech-heavy play. It might happen. It might just be here to get out stalkers a little bit more quickly out of 2 gateways. So, in the meantime, we have probes just running across the map, doing the high five. So, first gateway finishes. Cybernetic score going down. Cybernetic score going down, probably, in just a few seconds here, waiting for the 150 minerals, and here it goes. So in the meantime, Poizon just gets a good scouting, sees that both assimilators have already been taken. Don't know if she actually clicked on them to see how much gas has been mined, but yeah, sees just all of the buildings, can probably assume pretty well what is going on and what her opponent is trying to do. So let's see, tries to hide the probe over here. Probably just to scout later on, or maybe see if an early second base will be taken. So we have the 2 adepts this time around for Miyako. While what is going to be 2 stalkers for Poizon. So mostly the actual anti-build for what Miyako is doing here, since 2 stalkers usually out-micro a adept or an adept. So it's yeah, they normally prevail over adepts. So Poizon shouldn't actually be taking too much damage from the adept harassment. In the meantime, also Miyako having put her probe somewhere where Poizon does not really expect her to be. So Stalker's now moving out, just waiting a little bit on that ramp. We'll probably just greet these adepts once they start to get up towards that ramp, and Miyako will now have to decide whether she wants to shade out or just retreat. Okay, yeah, just retreats, sending the shades up, so now she just forces her opponent to go back into the main base. She can always just, yeah, if she sees that these stalkers are not close by, she can always decide to just get into the base, and woo! This is, like I said, really unexpected. I mean, under normal circumstances, these 2 adepts shouldn't have done as much damage as they actually dealt. But yeah, they did, and even managed to get out using the shades once more. So nice little harassment there by Miyako. Killing 6 probes that early on is already massive. That's already a really big blow to Poizon's economy. The only thing that's really going for her is that her own Nexus is a little bit quicker than that of Miyako's, but only by a small margin here. So she might be able to replace those a little bit more easily and a little bit more quickly than her opponent. But yeah, until then, she will be behind significantly here. Ooh, even having a long line of workers being lined up here. So Miyako, in the meantime, going for the robotics facility. We have the same for Poizon, but also Twilight Council. So let's see what she really wants to do with it. If the Twilight Council is just for her trademark unit, the DT, so for a Dark Shrine, or if she just wants to have the Twilight Council to upgrade something, maybe Blink, maybe Speed Lots. I'm not really seeing much of those around, or many of those around, in today's metagame. So more adepts coming in for Miyako. We'll probably just try to use the mobility of the unit in order to get some more scouting information done. Still, one lonely probe sitting inside Poizon's base, unscouted. So Miyako will always have the possibility to just scout once more using the probe, maybe even planting down a proxy pylon right inside Poizon's base. I just remember good old Wings of Liberty days where people would just always try to build proxy gateways right inside your main base, or actually just only proxy pylons, because then you would just need for it was just a 4-gate build with a hidden proxy pylon inside your base, because back then in Wings of Liberty and How It Was Warm, you didn't need to have warp gates close by in order to get a warp in there, a quick warp in. And then people always just tried to get a 4-gate through as quickly as possible with a proxy pylon right inside your face, and then just taking games off of you. So, in the meantime, more harassment by Miyako, even 7 more workers being killed, and now Poizon is down to 26 to 39. So, a 13 worker difference. Like I said, I mean, the initial 6 were already pretty tough, but now losing 7 more, wow, that just puts Poizon so far behind, and you can just see it on the supply numbers, but you can also see it in the production tab, where Miyako can just afford so much more stuff, and this will just snowball in the next few minutes. So it's already looking pretty grim for Poizon. It depends on what Miyako is doing and when she decides to attack, and whether Poizon has managed to get some sort of units up that might help her taking good engagement, or if she might get some harassment done, but I can't really see how. Right now she's just sitting back, probably being quite afraid and quite scared of a possible push that could come out of Miyako here. But Miyako also just sitting back a little bit relaxed here. Let's see if she's, well, doesn't really need those 2 gas geysers right now, but will probably take them in just a few seconds, and there she does it. So, more depths being warped in. Waiting for another Immortal, and maybe now for the Warp Prism and the upgrade to arrive, and then I think she will just move out. It's probably just waiting for the Warp Prism so that she will be able to reinforce things right at the front. I think she really forgot about that probe and does not really even realize it's there anymore. It's just even showing such a small range of her opponent's base that it's really difficult to see on the minimap. So, Zealots and Immortals moving out. Poizon realizes that she needs to deal some damage, wants to see if she can do some harm to her opponent. But yeah, also the army of Miyako now moving out, not knowing that she will be greeted by Poizon's army over here, but unfortunately I can't really see Poizon's army winning to that, and Miyako will probably just let these shades finish, just sandwiching all of these units. There she goes, and will now take out all of Poizon's army, could even reinforce if she wanted to, does so right now once the next production cycle is available, and will now probably just move across the map. There is not much for Poizon to hold this push. Does she even have a mothership core? There is Poizon's Warp Prism. Did she just lose it in the engagement? Did she never have one? I don't... There it is. Okay, never mind. There it is, and fully loaded as well. There's only 2 pylons around. I think a few more pylons would have been a wise idea now. But yeah, I mean, this is... I can't really imagine or seeing her hold this for long. I mean, maybe for now, with enough Photon Overcharge, she might just get herself some time. But yeah, that's actually the biggest problem. The Adepts could just always shade through right into the main base. And now the biggest problem for Poizon is how does she want to defend it? GG! And Miyako takes the second map as well. Overgrowth is our 3rd map of this best of 5. Spawning to the top right-hand corner in purple. Playing for Psystorm, it's Poizon. And to the bottom left, in orange, playing for LELC, La Programmeuse Française, it's Miyako. Donuts! Donuts! Whatever that means. Probably just donuts. Even fruit, even Freud would say sometimes, a donut is just a donut. So, it looks as if Poizon was pretty hungry while playing. So, Poizon just sends out an early probe. No, it's not that early, it's just the probe scout after the gateway. Could still do something with it. No cheese actually, quite interesting there. No cheese by either players. In none of these games. No one trying to play some sort of proxy shenanigans here. Well, proxy builds kinda got devalued in Legacy of the Void. They still can work under certain circumstances. But yeah, they are not as strong anymore as they were, for instance, in Wings of Liberty or Heart of the Swarm in PvP. Of course, in other matchups, it still can deal a lot of damage if unscouted. Well, if unscouted, a lot of builds can actually deal a lot of damage there, so nothing all too uncommon. So, Poizon again sees all of the build, knows what's headed her way, can just answer accordingly, is already getting her own gateway and her cybernetics core, and is now even blocking the base. Ooh, meanie, you little meanie, just blocking the natural space for the Nexus with a pylon there. Okay, cybernetics core just finishes. In the meantime, probe takes its place at the Zanaga Watchtower. Like it a lot, so it just gives you a little bit more vision to see whether your opponent is trying to get towards you or not. And in the meantime, we have double adepts for both players, which is quite interesting here. So Miyako, sneaking a probe over to the 4th base location with a pylon here. So this is actually going to be interesting. Let's see if it seems as if Miyako actually just wants to go for some sort of one base all-in. Might actually be some sort of Dark Templar play. I mean, for a Stargate it's pretty far away, but maybe Miyako just wants to make sure that it's not getting spotted. But yeah, and this time around it's a Twilight Council, and we should see the Dark Shrine right behind it. So, pylon getting shot at by these adepts, but like I said, I think they're Miyako just wants to go for a surprise attack using DTs, which would be, we have to say it, a little bit ironic. Playing DTs against the DT Queen. That has some ironic touch to it. So in the meantime, Poizon just manages to get into the main base, getting 1 kill, 2 kill of probes, but Mothership Core already fired up the pylon. Unfortunately, you can't really cover everything with only 1 pylon. So yeah, Miyako just has to take those hits, and while getting her own adepts back in order to take out Poizon's adept over here. Sending out a Stalker to have a look at the outskirts. In the meantime, we have the Dark Shrine getting planted down. And there it is. So in the meantime, we also have a pylon and a gateway. And this is really interesting, abusing this old mechanic, where actually the pylon should grant you vision and warp-in possibilities over that ledge. So you can just, but Poizon sniffs it out, so sees that some sort of proxy attack is headed her way. The question is, will she be able to take out everything before Miyako is ready? And even if she does, it does not really matter that much. Seems as if Poizon will actually just sniff out the complete plan here. Nicely done! So sees the Dark Shrine in the making, knows exactly what's up now, will even get the warp-in pylon over here, might even take out that warp gate. In the meantime, we have Miyako just pressing the issue. She knows that she's been sniffed out, so she wants to make something happen in the meantime, getting herself more time in order to get her DTs out, because it just won't take that much longer anymore. Unfortunately, she will now not be able to warp in an instant at the front, but she might just send across some DTs to help out. She knows that her opponent is probably not ready for DTs yet, but she will be in just a few minutes. So she just wants to distract her, delay her defenses. Ooh, Poizon, unfortunately, with a move command here, just losing 1 Stalker almost for free, and the second one also getting down. Important units she would have needed later on to defend. Miyako is on very low supply. She does not have a second base. She's really all in with this build, so she needs to deal some damage now. And, I don't see what's coming in for Poizon. There's a photon cannon coming in. She does have a robo there, and it's producing an observer already. So she just needs to wait for a little longer. And, yeah, actually quite nicely. She could actually just, cancel that cannon there. Nicely done here, just getting herself a little bit more time, making Miyako attack the cannon that could have actually just granted her vision. Yeah, and there we just saw the warp in coming from the left-hand side. So now she actually has vision, but having vision and being able to take out all of these units coming out of Miyako are 2 different things. I mean, even when visible, units still deal a lot of damage. Miyako instead just uses the Dark Templars to morph them into an Archon. The Mothership Core unfortunately falls as well, and now all that Poizon has are some Stalkers against the, also Stalker and Archon force of Miyako here. Observer is still around, no way for Miyako to really get rid of it. So she will not really be able to abuse Dark Templars in this case around, but of course having Archons in the mix is also great. They dish out quite some damage, and they also tank a lot of damage. Seems as if Miyako just wants to get a photon overcharge as well, or just a proxy pylon here. No, she just gets also the Mothership Core over here. Will also have a proxy pylon warp-in position as well, even though it's going to be slow warp-ins. In the meantime, Poizon just managed to replace her her Mothership Core, but there's no pylon for photon overcharge available, so she just needs to let these units get into the main base. At least gets 1 photon overcharge out, which doesn't really hit the army right now. Okay, 1 Immortal will help out tremendously here. What a big fight against these 2. I mean, Miyako actually really needs to take out that natural base in order to at least get an even score, but now with the help of her own pylon right next to that natural base, it's sure to go down, and there it is. And now Poizon is on 1 base, same as Miyako here. I think she really needs to be careful where she wants to take her fight here, but it's always easier said than done. Immortal falls, and the Immortal was so important. Unfortunately, just maneuvering most of the units into a corner, Miyako takes them out and wins the match with a 3-0.